That's not new. Maybe new to you, but that's not new.
It's the vintage one. It's the one that Dwight wears in the office.
Yeah? That's really cool, Jesse.
Shut up. Hey guys, I'm super excited to be on your podcast. I hope no one makes fun of me.
Literally the first thing in the podcast.
The very first thing. But all right, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Wavelengths Podcast. The terrific trio has returned, this time with a +1. Things are a little bit different this time around. We got our first guest on this week. We got our boy Jesse. What's up, man?
The double hand wave.
Double hand wave. That was nice. That was real nice. I like that.
A little bit of spear fingers going in there.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, the boys are back this week, and we got a guest this time, man. We wanted to save our first guest till after we had a few episodes under our belt. Now that we do, we wanted to have our first guest on, and we wanted to make sure it was Jesse. How does that make you feel, Jesse?
It makes me feel like the first guest on a podcast.
Well,
that's accurate.
Good. That's accurate.
Yeah.
High expectation. You better deliver.
Yeah, don't screw
So
this up.
for anybody who might be immediately wondering, like, who the hell is this guy? Why should I care who Jesse is? Why should you
wonder
care
that
who any of
every
us
day.
are, to be honest? But Jesse and I have been friends since we were 6 years old, and we have been just really good friends ever since. So for 20 years, we grew up together, and yeah, we've just maintained a strong friendship literally since we were 6 years old. So just that kind of relationship. A lot of you guys probably have similar type relationships with people. So yeah, that sort of thing. And Jesse is, of course, very good friends with Clay and Justin as well, because he's been friends with me, and we've all been friends. We've all hung out a lot, so we're all homies.
You know the vibes.
If you go to my Wikipedia
you know the CX
page,
vibes.
Yeah, you know the CX vibes.
If you go to my Wikipedia page, the first entry is I was actually Cole's first esports captain. Back in Halo 3.
That is true.
Yep.
Actually, I would love to talk about that, because I remember specifically I was about to go to soccer practice. I just got out of school. I changed for soccer practice, and Jesse calls me, and I was like, "Yo," and he was like, "Yo, man, I'm making an MLG team. Do you want to join it?" And I was like, "What do you mean you're making an MLG team?" And he was like, "Dude, I don't know, man, but we're doing it." And I was like, "Hell yeah, I'm in. I'm in." So
the reason I
Yeah.
decided to do that is because I thought of what I thought was a cool name, Blind Sight. I was like, we've got the name. I don't know what else you need.
well, because back then all the
Blind.
Blind Sight, yeah.
but all the
That's
teams
so
back then were
hard,
like
dude. That
People
is
just
so
Instinct,
badass.
Carbon.
Fences.
It wasn't orgs and shit back
I mean,
then. It was just like team names.
No,
So
you're right. But still,
had to come up with something cool.
But still, that's
didn't-
hilarious.
Your
Yeah.
logo,
Blind sight.
your logo should have just been a nose. That's it. Blind sight.
Dude, that is too good.
Clay, this was back on Halo 3. I don't know if you remember. You could edit your logo and stuff like that. I don't know if that was.
Yeah.
remember that
I didn't really play that game. That was kind of before my time and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Play was still in diapers back then,
Fuck you, Jesse.
Yeah, we were fucking clueless back then, and we went and do custom games on Guardian and practice no scopes. We'd have somebody stand top middle, and we all filed up in a line and repeatedly jumped off of S3 directly at them, and they would try to no scope them. I was practice for no scopes, and let me just say, I am pleased to report that we all did fucking terrible at it.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is like, and this was my job as captain, was to stop this type of nonsense. But like, you'd be in single file line, and you would just blast the person in front of you, and be like, "Dude, you're ruining our flow, man! Like now he has to run all the way back there." Like,
We're trying to practice, bro. Yeah, we were just terrible. The only game type we were actually kind of decent at was Guardian Ball.
yeah,
That was it.
that was
Because
fun.
that was one game type that we all kind of like watched actual like a pro team play, and we were like, okay, we kind of understood the concept together. And we mainly only played Guardian in custom games, so we were all pretty familiar with that map. I think, like the flow of it and everything.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Jesse yelling at people in custom games? Like, guys, take this seriously.
Get it together.
Stop.
Did you zoom in? We
Stop
said we were practicing
betraying.
no scopes. Yeah.
Hey, you're not zooming in, are you? You got 3 in a row.
Yeah, we did. Like we accused people of that. Actually, that was totally a thing.
Yeah.
Back
Well,
in
throwbacks.
no scope lobbies.
Yeah.
And as being captain, no one could get more no scopes than Jesse. He just cut session after someone got like 2.
That's right, dude.
It's funny how like, I think about like how good I legitimately thought like we were gonna be. Like I thought that this was our first step to greatness. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Was it
Oh,
not, Jesse? Was that
I
not our
mean-
first step towards greatness?
my MLG future has really dropped off here of recent. So
Of recent.
yeah, of recent. So
I mean, Jesse, if that's how you feel about like yours, imagine how we feel about like practicing every day and still not getting there.
Yeah. Imagine how we felt after Orlando.
After Orlando.
It feels real bad.
Yeah, I
Not a
think.
good feeling.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna quit.
Yeah, I think I'm just done.
Yeah, I just
Seems like
literally
having a nice time. Retirement seems nice.
we fall in
Yeah.
losers bracket. We're out of the tournament. It's just like, yeah, I think I'm just gonna quit, boys. I think that's it.
That's
I never
I think
thought
I'm
about me-
retired.
Yeah, I never thought about me being in retirement. Like, you know, retire young, stay healthy. I've still got my body and my mind. You know what I'm saying? Like,
You could
Your
still get
hands-
back in. You could get into coaching and stuff. You know, who's to say you couldn't get into competing that way?
I have coached at a tournament before, technically.
Yeah, but you could actually like get
This
into
man's got
coaching. I mean,
experience.
still,
So
you'd
Jesse,
actually like learn the meta and like
Yeah.
be a coach. Be cool.
Yeah, like I know that we're all just fucking around, but like
Jesse would be a great coach. Just saying.
Yeah,
but
Jesse would be a great coach because like so Cole and Clay, I'm pretty sure y'all know that like Pac-Man got kicked off the OGLA team.
Mhm.
And I was listening to the podcast that like TP has, and they're talking about like what a coach is, and it's really he's like, yeah, like you can like kind of like guide people on like how to play the map right, but a lot of it is just like like managing people. Like you're just like, hey, just make sure you get to scrims on time and like creating a culture and stuff like that. So like no bullshit. Like Jesse would be great for that if you just like learn the meta going into Infinite.
Well, like we totally like way back when Chaotix was like an idea and less of a thing. You remember? Like, is this when I was still in school? Like, I don't know, Cole, if you remember, like when you called me and we talked about that as like a loose, not really from like coaching a team, but like being a part of Chaotix as like a
an
yeah, like you were
administrator or something.
yeah, like an administrative manager and like being like a content scheduler and stuff like that. And like we had those kind of conversations. I mean, the biggest thing though is I just never ingrained myself in the world and the culture of the game enough. I just didn't have the language down. You know what I'm saying? Like there was just awareness that I didn't have.
Yeah. I mean, there's always time. Holiday 2020.
Yeah,
Holy
yeah.
I mean, if
Holy
Infinite's good to us, I mean, you know,
I love
Fingers
that,
crossed,
Jesse.
man.
just saying
Yeah.
something to
This
think
is my
about.
Halo life coach.
But see,
Your Halo life coach, yeah.
but
What
see-
I'll do though is I'll just do it but unappointed. So I'll just make random phone calls to you and be like, Justin, I've
I've
been
watching
monitoring
some-
your yeah.
I'm in the middle of fucking work and Jesse calls me, hey, do you have a minute? Because I really need to talk to you.
He's been
like,
watching.
"Nah,
He's
I
been
really
watching your
don't."
Waypoint games.
I'll call your boss first though and make sure like you have time. Like you'll get a phone call and like your boss will go, "It's cool, I know."
Hey, Justin, you have a call on line 1. It's really important.
Did we plan for any topics of any sort for this podcast?
Not particularly. No.
Not really. I figured
I
that
would-
we just go into like our experiences and shit.
Yeah. See,
That
here's
sounds-
the thing. Here's
Sounds
the thing.
good.
While Cole and Jesse have known each other for years and years, myself and Justin have only known Jesse for a number of years. And the first time I met Jesse, I wasn't so sure we was gonna be friends. I'm not.
No, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. So we was gonna go to we was gonna go to well we didn't have plans. We were just gonna drive until we saw snow. The fuck was the plan? That
Yeah.
weekend? We were just gonna.
We
get-
wanted to
yeah.
take a road trip, and we basically wanted to chill in the snow, so we decided to drive north basically until we saw snow. Didn't work,
It was
but-
a super solid. It was a super solid, well thought out plan. And so they picked me up, 17-year-old me up from my house in Nashville, and we started driving towards Indiana, or where were we? We were in Kentucky or some shit, right?
Two things to take away from this story. The first of which is the first impression of Clay that I got was a text that came through to Cole. Like we were on the way. He's like, "Yo, I hope Clay's gonna be able to go still." What do you mean? It's like, you know, he had to ask for permission to go with us, and his parents are like, "You're gonna have to be real
these
quiet
are,
when we pick
these
him
are a
up."
bunch of dudes in their 20s, and I had just turned 17.
Yeah, so like we're
Well-
rolling through this neighborhood, and I'm like, "Yeah." Clay comes out. He goes, be careful shutting the trunk. We don't want to wake anybody. I was like, are we kidnapping this kid? Like, is this a crime? Are we doing this?
Well, I kind of like, Clay and I were teaming at the time. Or like we were like loosely teaming because like we weren't planning on going to an event at the time, but like we had just been teaming, and we were just like in a call, and it was just like, yeah, we're about to like go on this trip, and Clay's like, shit, man, you want to swing by and pick me up? And then we were kind of like,
No, it was Dallas. It was Dallas, and it was the night before, because y'all came and picked me up on a Friday.
It was like super, yeah.
And on a Thursday, like super late at night, we were chilling in a call, and Dallas was like, yo man, we can come get you, and I was like, I don't really know if that's gonna fly with my parents. And
yeah,
Dallas
so like you're 17.
Yeah,
we were
man,
just,
I
can't believe your parents.
Like a week before that too. And
so, like
parents were like, yeah, come on, whatever, dude.
Yeah, we get through. We pick this kid up, and we I mean, like road trips are fun. Like you get to know each other, and like Clay and I knew each other, but like we just had 5 people rolling in my Honda Accord, so like it was already an awkward way to like spend your
real
day.
Tight in that back seat.
That's not a road trip car.
So we get. There's a lot of places I could take it, but the thing that just made me just crazy is I'm the guy with the map. I pride myself on knowing where we're going, like what time we're gonna get certain places. And the original plan was we were going to travel to see snow, and that was going to take us up the East Coast. Well, then the night before, everybody's like, Clay's coming. We got to go through Nashville. It's like, okay, so we're not going up the East Coast anymore. And so we're like, okay, so we got on the interstate, and we just cruised. And we end up in the middle of Kentucky, and we hadn't eaten dinner yet. I got to stop and get gas, and we're in this like, know nothing town in Kentucky. In this little circle, there is a gas station, a McDonald's, and a Super 8, like a hotel. We stop at the gas station, I get gas, and we're like, hey, do we want to roll through that McDonald's? We're like, no, just down the road, there's another town that's got a hotel, and we'll eat there. We're like, okay, boom, get on the road. No town. We're in the middle of this national forest.
Literally no town, bro. No street lights. No reflectors on the street.
Yeah,
no town, middle of fucking nowhere.
Dude, it's like exactly like you picture. Like it's foggy, it's dark, and I pull the car to a complete stop. And I turn around and I just look at Clay, and he's in the middle, so he's like, he's sitting like this already.
Just in between.
And I said, Clay, did it ever occur to you that we might have just brought you out here to kill you? And I expected it to be funny. Like I think like I'm being Mr. Funny Man, and Clay goes, no, I hadn't thought of that. No, I hadn't considered it. And I was like, dude, we could literally bring you out here and axe murder you.
Dude,
and I just turned around and kept driving.
We were parked, stopped on the road. There was fog all around the car. Couldn't see nothing. There were no street lamps. He was playing the soundtrack to what were you playing the soundtrack to?
I think it was Sinister, Insidious, or something.
Sinister, yeah.
This man was playing scary music, and then everybody's quiet, and this man just turns around, parks the car in the middle of the road, turns around and looks at me, and he's like, I just brought you out here to kill you, bro.
Yeah, the joke didn't land like I really wanted it to.
But then, this is where the story gets better. We end up going back to that same gas station. The McDonald's was closed.
Oh my god, dude.
It was 4 a.m. at this point. The McDonald's was closed. We got back to the gas station. That was our only option for food. There was one dude operating this gas station, and this dude was a motherfucking character.
This man, dude, the most colorful character.
So I made the worst mistake of like when you're in a strange place, you don't want to like really advertise that you're in a strange place. And like we burst into the gas station, and I'm like, we're lost. We have no idea where we are. We're staying at that hotel. This is our room number, and nobody knows where we are. Like I just gave him all the information. Like the real truth is that guy could have killed all of us. Like
yeah,
he knew all the information.
But we did like kind of give him our story and be like, this is what we've been through. And he was like, well, yeah, we have food here. And we were like, great, what can you cook?
Yeah, and then
I can get you anything, Brad.
I can get you anything, Brad.
I was like, look, man, we are gonna level with you. We're hungry. That McDonald's is closed. Like, what kind of food do you have? He goes, we can cook you anything, long as it's fried. Like,
as long as it's fried.
Yeah, and then like we're all having a good time. Like,
so we ordered like literally 12 chicken sandwiches between it was funny, the 5 of us.
But it was funny because we kept like adding on because like the first like y'all two were like, oh yeah, let's get like 4 chicken sandwiches, and then he goes back to the back to start cooking. And then, like, I was like, oh, shit, like, let me get one, too. And then Dallas was like, oh, shit, like, let me get one, too. And this guy was, like kept, like,
The funny thing is, like, because I was having a good time, because like you have to look at yourself in the third person in moments like that. Like, there's no reason I should be in this random gas station at 4 o'clock in the morning, somewhere nowhere in Kentucky. You know what I'm saying? But like, so we're sitting there, we go up to pay, and this guy just stops and he looks at Cole, because Cole was counting exact change or something like that. He's trying to pay with cash, and he goes, "You must be the nerd of the group." And then Cole was beside himself for the rest of the
He was
interaction.
so mad.
So like we're sitting there like, dude, we're like, these chicken sandwiches are awesome, and Cole's like, yeah, they're fine. I don't know why he had to say that. He's so mad.
Well, it's funny because I was up there.
Bro, I'm literally, because I'm just counting coins. I just remember that, and he was like, he said it so like it was such a bad thing.
Yeah.
I was like counting. Oh, you must be the nerd. I just looked up. I was just like what? Like what?
But I was
Bitch.
I was like the little kid wearing the Halo hoodie.
Yeah, Clay was literally wearing a fucking Halo hoodie. No.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember though? Hold on. Right as soon as all of the chicken was about to come out of the fryer, he was like about to pull it out, and he goes, "Oh shit, buns, hon!" And then he flies to the back and then posts back with all the buns, like he forgot to do it. He literally hit a clap.
Buns, hon.
Buns, hon.
But that man did not
Fucking
give
great.
a single shit, dude. The first like when we first started talking to him, he was like asking where we were from and shit, and the guys were like, "Oh, like we're from Georgia." And they were like,
He's like, "Oh, I've been down in Georgia," and then he started talking.
Yeah, they were like, "Do you know where this and this is?" And he was like, "Fuck yeah, I know where that is."
Yeah. So not only could he have killed us in that Super 8, he could have also driven back to our hometown and killed us. 'Cause
Yeah,
he knew,
no, that's
he knew
true.
all the information. But like, I will say that Clay and I did kind of like form a better bond, you know, there, because like, you know, he says, "You must be the nerd of the group," and like Clay looks down at his Halo hoodie and his, you know, and like I lean over, I said, "Bro, I think that's you. I think that's you actually." And he was like, "Yeah."
And then we got into that hotel room, and we checked in at like close to 6 a.m.
First of all, we got swindled. All right, so it's this group of 5 people, and we're like, "Hey, we need a room for the next 3 hours because we're gonna sleep and then we're gonna get back on the road." And the guy was like, "Yeah, the only room we have is this one that costs like $300." And we're like, "Are you sure that's the only room?" Because we're all willing to sleep on the floor. He goes, "No other room." There's like 3 cars in the parking lot. He's like, "We're all
right."
You got to pay like $400 or else you're gonna sleep in the car." So I turned to the group and I was like, "I'm gonna sleep in the car." And they, you know, in the back seat, there's no room. So like, "No, we're not." So we paid a lot of money. This.
Jesse's completely fine with it because he's just gonna lean his fucking chair. all the
We
way back.
paid, yeah. So we bought a room at like close to 6 a.m. and checkout was at 11. So we had it for like 5 hours.
Yeah, but we
So
had
we
to get on the road
literally-
before 11. Yeah.
Yeah, but we literally passed out for very briefly and then woke up and left.
We watched Kaylin's montage
We did.
as well.
Clay and I premiered that night. The Zubi-tage came out. It was dope.
But that whole trip was an adventure, man.
We vlogged it, hunting for snow. We didn't vlog all the story you just heard was the night before. When we woke up, that's when we started vlogging. So I wish we would have started the vlog the night before, but we didn't expect that part to be like crazy as
We
it
were
was.
just
It was
gonna-
supposed to be
yeah.
just go north and we'll find a hotel.
Like,
and
thinking
then the
about it
next day was
now,
supposed to be fun.
Dude, if we had vlogged all that shit, that would have been like the best video ever.
It would have been good.
That would have been
Yeah.
so good.
I wish we like. I really hope I meet that gas station attendant guy again. Like, I hope there's round 2 with him. I just have to know. Like, he could have been fake. Is my point. Like, you know, in game, you know, Red Skull, the way he just appears on the mountain, and you're like, "Oh, that guy." Like, that is how I hope he shows back up in my life. Like,
He might.
Yeah.
You never know.
Like he's the doctor, like as you're dying. Like that's your doctor.
Doctor, am I dying? Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, bro.
You know what?
You're fucked, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you, dudes.
I told the
Done.
story of this road trip to my parents the other day, and like my dad was like, "So, quick question here. What was the point? Like, what was the goal?" And I said, "Well, we don't really know." And he was like, "What kind of life to lead? To just get in the car?" And
We
decide what you're
wanted
gonna do?"
to
Yep.
not be sitting in the house. We wanted to be doing something and going somewhere. So that's what we
Yeah.
did.
Also, when we got back, like, so I was going to UGA at the time, so we stopped, you know, back in Athens, and they all stayed at my house. Well, not Clay. We dropped him off. And we stayed at my house. We got back at like 4:30 or something, and I was supposed to be at work at 5:45. So I like went to sleep for like 30 minutes, and I woke back up, and I called our manager and was like, "Hey, something came up, and I am not gonna make it." She goes, "Yeah, you've got to come in." I said, "You don't understand. There's no way." So she's like, "Well, what's your excuse?" I was like, "There is none." I am not coming.
I am not coming in.
She was like, you could have just like said you were sick, and I said that would not be true. I am just not coming. I was so dead.
Bro, that's actually like that reminds me of that thing. So, okay, Clay and I were having this conversation one time. I don't know how we got on it, but we basically started entertaining the idea like, what if when you were a kid, like, all right, so some of you guys listening to the podcast might be parents. I don't know. Some of you guys might be kids, right?
Right.
What if as a kid, when you were asked to do things,
it's the only spectrum. It's either you're a grown adult with children or you're fucking 11. That's our only demographic.
No, but I'm saying, okay, it's like for me, I'm not a dad, but this doesn't apply to me because I don't live with my parents and my parents don't tell me what to do anymore.
Yeah,
but back when they did. So I'm saying some people this might apply to because they could be the kid or the parent.
Okay.
Do you get it, Justin?
Yeah, listen up, some people. All right.
Some people. You few.
You few. Yeah, ye few who this applies to.
Go ahead, Cole.
Basically, what if you didn't have an attitude? What if every single time you weren't disrespectful, you didn't have an attitude, you just
there's
simply your parents are like, hey, can you go take out the garbage? No, I'm sorry. No, I'm not gonna do that. Because just no matter what, like, what would they do? Like, what breaking point? Because you're not doing anything that like you're refusing, but you're not refusing in a way that's disrespectful or anything like that.
Because most of the interaction there, like most of the negative interaction, is based on like the emotion or like the outburst or the attitude.
Yeah.
So if there's none of that present, then like how do you? Like,
just
what do you do?
I'll tell you what you do. You hit your kid.
No, it's like it's Sunday. Yo, get up and go to church. Nah, I'm good.
I'm good.
No, sorry. Just no.
Nah.
Not
No, literally, like, what if they take you to church and you sit down and then you just
yeah.
you just no, sit down. Nah, I'm good. No, I'm not gonna do that.
All right.
Like what do they do?
Son, come here and sit down. Freedom of religion.
Nah, I'm not gonna do that. No, I'm sorry. I'm just not gonna do that. You just don't. You literally are completely not agreeable. You just do your own thing, but you just do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, but like, what's the parent equivalent? Like, mommy, I'm hungry. It's like, yeah, well, I'm not gonna do anything about it.
Oh, they go to prison for that. So
Yeah,
that's the equivalent. The kid doesn't go to prison. What do you do?
Not feed your kid.
And you can't hit the kid. You can't. What do you do with the kid? Seriously, like if
wait,
I'm talking all society, like they're at school
Checkmate.
and the kid's just you got to do your test. No, I'm not gonna do that.
Jesse, have you thought this whole time that you could just not feed your kid if you have one?
Yeah, Clay's face. He's banging right. You're just gonna.
I mean, I will say that
I don't want to do that. I'm not gonna do that.
Sorry.
It's disappointing to me how compelling that is in my brain. Like, it's disappointing.
Super compelling.
It's disappointing that there's a part of me that's like, come on, 13-year-old me, get it together. You should have done.
Yeah, so like adults eventually will probably get arrested if you apply this to your life, but kids will not get arrested. But like adults, just think of just at work you'll lose your job. There are consequences, but in situations where somebody's trying to just make you do something you simply don't want to do, not combative at all. Just I'm not gonna do that now.
Nah, sorry.
No, I'm good.
No, I will say at work, it's not a long-term strategy, but a short-term strategy. I have this thought always. It's like if you just ghosted everything about your professional life for like a week and then just showed back up, most of the time you'd probably get away.
Really?
I'm not recommending it. If you just be like, where were you? It's like, wasn't here.
Nah, sorry, I wasn't here.
No, sorry.
And then they're
Dude,
like,
seriously, that's like dude. It's
some
literally
parents do that as well. Sometimes your dad leaves and then he comes back 18 years later and he tries to talk to you and he's like, "Where were you?" Just I wasn't here.
Dude, when I worked at Steak and Shake, my neighbor also worked at Steak and Shake, and we were friends. And she was saying that she wasn't going to be there on the Friday or whatever. And I was like, "You're on the schedule, And I was like, "You probably won't be able. They probably won't get you. Like the manager probably won't give you the time off." And she like walked in. She literally drove up there and like walked in, and she was like, "Greg was the manager." She was like, "Greg, hey Greg, I'm not going to be here on Friday." He was like, "Okay, well I'll take a look at the schedule." He was, "No, listen, I'm not going to be here on Friday." And then she fucking left. And guess what? She didn't lose her job. She just came back on Saturday and it was like nothing.
No,
like
you
just
don't understand. I'm not gonna be here Friday.
that's true.
And you know what she was doing? She was literally going to the beach. Like that's what she was just like, I'm gonna go to the beach on Friday. So like, no, but like she told me that, but she just walked in there and was like, yeah, I'm not gonna be here. It worked. It fucking worked.
It's just that
That's a
energy,
truism.
I guess.
A truism my dad told me has remained true. It's the world will hold you to the standard you hold yourself to. And if you walk in and go, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I'm gonna have to not be here Friday," like you hold yourself to that standard, they're gonna make you be there on Friday.
Yeah, because they have the high ground there.
Giving them that power. Yeah, but if you just
I have the high
walk in,
ground, Anakin. Don't even try it. But yeah, you have the high ground when you're just like, I'm not gonna be here. Do you need to find somebody to replace me because I won't be here?
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'll be here Saturday. Won't be here Friday. Sorry.
Especially if
Won't
you
be
don't give a reason. It's like, well, if I tell them no, they might say, well, like,
No, that's
go-
the whole.
I have
You
to go
can't give them a
ahead.
reason because
Yeah,
if they
well,
press you for a reason,
they
you have to be
can't.
like, I will not be here.
I will not.
Oh,
be
really?
here.
My entire family died.
Nor am I obligated to tell you.
Dude, my entire family.
My entire family died in a canoeing accident. You son of a bitch.
So we had this cold-hearted teacher in high school.
Oh shit.
She was awesome. Like I love this teacher. She was also like, you know, she's the kind of teacher like you couldn't get away with nothing. And we had this kid in class who failed a quiz.
Oh,
And she gets up and she had the audacity to stand in front of class. She goes, everybody except for one person did great on the quiz. He got some of the answers right, but I failed him anyway because of his attitude. She said that out loud. She never said who it was. And this kid who was sitting in the back slammed his hands down and went, I know you're talking about me. Don't disrespect me like that. You don't know my story. Like, I mean, like a movie scene. Like he was like talking like philosophy. And she was
Was
like,
it Michael B.
she was
Jordan?
she was like, excuse me? And he was like, yeah, you can't just disrespect me like that. And he kind of had a point. He's like, you can't just talk about me in front of the class like that. I'm not an idiot. She goes, you chose to not show up half of last week, and you can't come in my class and talk to me. He goes, my grandma just died. Okay.
Oh, shit.
So like, I mean, pulled it out and like the whole, I mean, she was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Go out in the hallway. Let's talk about it. They're in the hallway for like 15 minutes. The whole class is sitting in there and we're like, this dude literally just won. Like, I can't believe it.
Yep.
And he comes back in, tail between his legs the next day. Never came back that day. The next day he comes into class like 30 minutes later. He goes, I have an announcement for everyone.
Oh my God.
He said, my grandma did not die. And, I was told to tell you that I am sorry. And he sat down and nobody talked about it again. But I
Oh
my God.
Why was he not there then?
no, because she came back into the room like 15 minutes later, like that first day, and was cool. You would have never known. Like I
Oh,
can't
God.
imagine the unholy conversation that they had to have. But he had.
Could you imagine? She's like, let's go outside and talk about it. And she's like, okay, well, let me hear it. Well, my grandma's not actually dead, so
No, I picture it how like she had to stick to her guns. She walked outside. She goes, "I swear to God, your grandma's."
No, she just meets me. Just meet me on the hallway. We're gonna go talk about this. Comes down the hallway and just closes the door. Your grandma's dead? Yeah. On God? Say on God.
put it on your grandma's life. Put it on your grandma's life right now.
It-
I'm gonna go over to the office. I'm gonna double check. Say on God.
No,
Say on God.
And the kid's
Call
just
your
like-
parents right now.
she said, "Is your grandma dead? Do you want her to be?"
That's so true. You want her to be?
But like, I can't imagine. This is like the teacher was playing the long play because you just got punked out in front of the whole class.
Yeah.
So you come back into class, you finish teaching chemistry, whatever it was.
Hold that L for a second.
No, but yeah, and you just smile and go, he's gone. He's not here today. Condolences, I guess. Knowing that tomorrow that he comes in and is gonna answer.
That's funny as hell.
Just imagine her sitting there, just condolences, I guess. Little son of a bitch. I miss him already.
Oh shit.
Holy shit, dude. That is too funny.
Yeah.
We want to talk about the Texas trip at all?
I will say two things about the start of the Texas trip. The first of which is
I think we already told the pig story on the podcast, didn't we?
We told the pig story.
Yeah.
I just want to tell another Clay having a weird relationship with his parents story. So like, you know, he drives down and he's hanging out in Georgia. And like that means he's already on a vacation. And the idea floats around that we're all going to drive to Texas. And like, you know, we all clear it with whoever we have to clear with, which is kind of Clay's the only one that has to get permission.
It's
Really.
like Clay.
17.
You know,
You know what I'm saying? But like everybody gets off work and stuff like
The
that.
summer I turned like 18.
Yeah. I was still 17 at the time.
I think yeah, I'm probably 23 at this point. Or 20. Yeah, I would be because you're 17.
Mm-hmm.
The only complaint like when we very first were like, we're going to Texas, and we kind of like because Clay was supposed to leave Georgia to go back to Tennessee that Friday, and I was like, well, Clay, you know, sucks, man. You know, we're gonna miss you, bro. And he goes, yeah, no, it's I hate it. So then everybody meets on Friday to leave from their house, and Clay's still there. And I'm like, all right, cool. I guess Clay can go. So, you know, Cole and them are in one car. Tyler, Clay, and I are in one car, and we're like 2 hours down the road. I'm like, Clay, man, it's really cool that you got permission to come with us. He's like, yeah, I didn't do that. He's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
did they not find out until we got to Jess's house?
yeah. And I was like,
No,
well,
we
what
were
do
in
you
like
fucking
we
forgot
were in
about?
like Alabama.
They found
or
out
some
we were in
shit.
like because we were at a Whataburger.
Yeah,
We were at a
he
Whataburger
said-
in Alabama or
And
some
I was
shit.
like, Clay, what do you mean you didn't get permission? He goes, yeah, my mom checks my location sometimes on my phone, and like she'll figure it out.
yeah. So I had to. No, I was playing.
Clay,
Clay, what are you
Clay,
doing in
you need
Alabama?
Clay, come home right now. No, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, no. Essentially, that's what I
I
did.
don't know what you expect from me.
Dude, that's
I kind of put it into practice right there, actually.
it's that same idea of like it's better to ask for forgiveness
Forgiveness
than
than
permission,
permission,
but
yeah.
you're not even asking for forgiveness.
'Cause
You're
I
go-
was-
no, I'm
yeah.
just not. I'm sorry, I'm not
I
gonna
was
do that.
still, I
To
was
this
still
day-
there.
Yeah,
I
I'm
was
going
just
to
like,
Texas. I don't.
Sorry.
To this day, I have never met Clay's mom. To this day, and at this point, I don't want to because I have this mental image in my head of like her talking to like Clay's dad and be like, "Our son is on the way to Texas. I'm so mad," and like his dad going like, "Are you gonna go pick him up? You gonna go get him?" And her
That's
just
what I'm
going,
saying, bro. Like that's what I mean. They're like, Clay, if you go to Texas, we'll take your car away. Okay, that's fine. I'm sorry. I'm going to Texas. I don't like. There's no. We'll take your door off. We'll take your shit out of your. Okay, that's fine. I'm not gonna do it though. Like,
No, but
Like,
I had to-
literally-
I can't ask them to turn around now, so you're gonna
Yeah.
have to do all that
I
shit.
was-
We'll figure
Well,
it out.
I knew.
I was more stressed about it than he was.
Well, because I knew. So I knew going into it that if we got far enough down there, that they would just be like, "Oh, fuck it, just make sure you're back on time."
Because like I
when,
was like,
we got
Clay,
back from Texas, that would have been like the same time, or like within the same time that I needed to leave Georgia. So like it would have worked out, but they just didn't know that I was gonna go from Georgia to Texas. So I was like, I'm just gonna go, and then hopefully they don't realize till I'm there.
literally, first of all, I was driving the car. Like this is the way my
man.
this is the way my brain works. I was like I'm just sitting there driving the car, and I'm like, Clay, you understand like what position this puts us in? And Clay was like, yeah. I was like, how old are you, Clay? I like walked him through it. He's 17. I was like, you're a minor. I was like, I'm driving the car. If she's mad, I'm in trouble. And he was like, nah, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. We're good.
No, I was like, nah, trust me. I was like, I know how this is gonna play out. And
look,
She could have easily been like, these grown men kidnapped my 17-year-old son.
right,
My boy,
And
they stole my boy.
she goes, here, officer, here's his exact location. Go get him.
yep.
Look, we got swindled at that hotel too. We roll up into Louisiana, like
Yeah.
in the middle of, and I'm not blaming nobody, but we were told we had a good deal and a good hotel right off the interstate. Not true. We had to drive like 20 minutes into this city in Louisiana, and we show up. It's like what 3:30 in the morning, something like that.
Or
We show
pretty
up,
late.
and like we walk in. We're like, hey, we have a room at this hotel, and the guy was like, okay. Like, well, you're gonna have to let us into the room. He goes, oh yeah, right. He starts like getting keys. We couldn't get into our room, and then Clay lays down in the parking lot, like, dude, I'm just gonna sleep here. Like,
One of the most iconic profile pictures of Clay's history.
Lay down right on the
Behind, of
concrete.
course, the Clay
The
Piper
Ford,
hybrid,
Yes,
and
indeed.
let's see, there's that one. Yeah, okay, those two are up there. I'm trying to think. There's got to be a third one, right? What's another one of your iconic fucking
Probably like
good
Fucking
profile
picture
picture?
that you guys took of getting fourth.
Well, that's all right.
Yeah. That's not bad.
It's iconic because of what it has, like the story of
The
it.
chocolate
there was
milk,
another-
the chocolate milk one from IHOP.
I thought there was another funny one though, but I can't remember. Yeah, the chocolate milk one's good. I like that one.
Yeah.
Whatever. Sorry.
Anyway. Yeah, so-
Abby's.
speaking of IHOP, that's Clay and I have bonded over some IHOP.
yeah, man, we always tried to get some time out to go to IHOP. They're closing my IHOP, dude. I'm pissed.
They're closing it straight up.
They're closing my IHOP.
Yeah,
Because
restaurants
quarantine taught
restaurants
everybody that you
are-
can make breakfast food at home for like way fucking cheaper.
well, just in general, like fucking restaurants are just harder to reopen after they close.
Also,
Yeah.
it taught you that you shouldn't have carpet in a food place, 'cause
And
it
you shouldn't be
smells
spending
terrible.
$9 on eggs, bacon, and pancakes because
So-
that's not $9 worth of food.
So like my girlfriend was a hostess at this restaurant, and I was talking to one of my coworkers who like worked in restaurants a lot, And she was like, yeah, you should probably just tell Kayla to find another job. And then I was like, why? She's like, well, like she told me that restaurants are like harder to reopen just because it's a hard business to like keep up anyway.
Zero margin, yeah.
Yeah. So like she's like, and they don't even have to tell you that they're closed. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, yeah, they don't. She's like, one time, like I worked at this restaurant and I walked up there to go to work after I think it was like Hurricane Harvey. She's like, yeah, they said that they were back open and like we did it for a couple of days, and then I went up there one day and I went to go open the door and it was locked and there was a sign that said we're closed, like forever. And so apparently her and a bunch of her coworkers just broke into the fucking place, stole all the liquor, and fucking left. And I was like, they have cameras. They got to know that. She's like, I haven't been contacted, and it's been 4 years. So
that's felonious behavior.
And I was like, oh my god.
All right.
Could you imagine if your job like didn't tell you that like they're out of business and you're out of a job, that like legally you could just break in there and steal their shit?
Could you imagine kidnapping a 17-year-old kid and taking him to a different state?
I take issue with that last one. That last one that you said. Look, can I hard change subject really quick? I saw a tweet thread the other day where some people are postulating that movie theaters might not like be a thing anymore.
But it's part of a whole cult. There's like a whole culture behind it, isn't there?
But the argument is that like the culture is fundamentally shifted. That like the example that people have been given so far is Trolls 2 premiered online and made more money in 3 weeks than the first Trolls made in its entire run in theaters.
I don't think that's a culture thing. I think that's just
accessibility.
Right. Yeah.
But that's the point. Like I think that's what Jesse's pointing out. The theater experience is an enhanced experience to view a movie. I think we can all agree, but I don't think it's a make or break type situation. If you could find out that you could watch Endgame on even these tiny 4-size screens that we're looking at on Discord right now.
Right.
If I could have watched Endgame day one on my phone and only my phone, I'm watching Endgame on my phone.
But that's the thing. That's the thing is that
a good movie is gonna get watched. I mean, interesting movie is gonna get watched anyways.
But there's a lot of times where people are like, "I want to see this in theaters," though.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think the culture's still there. I don't think money plays a huge deal into it.
It does when you have to operate and run a movie theater.
Well, see, my thing is,
I think from their side, yes, but from a people standpoint, it does. It's.
But like I'm saying, like I think what Justin's saying is like I don't think those people are gonna. I don't think those people are gonna run out. Like I still think there's gonna be people.
I still love going to the movie theater.
Exactly.
I love it. I love it.
Like fuck that. If I can just watch it at home, I'm never gonna go to the theater.
Or
again.
or even if you do watch shit online,
experience.
Yeah, you might go see a movie again in the future.
The argument is that like right now what drives demand for movie theaters specifically is the exclusivity of theatrical releases.
Right.
And if there's no theatrical releases,
if there's no exclusivity, if I could watch Endgame on my computer, like I would have liked to see it in theater, but like it's cheaper to sit at home and watch it. We could all watch it on the big screen and pay for it once, and then all 4 of us can watch it rather than all spending $40 for tickets.
Yeah, and that's the argument is that I think you're 100% right in saying like the people like because I still love going to the movies, you know what I'm saying? But like if I'm gonna go less often, then everybody's gonna be going less often. There's gonna be less money. It's gonna be harder to keep a theater open. So like the argument, I guess I frame the argument. It's not that theaters aren't going to open back up. It's that going to be the only movies that get shown in theaters are your big tentpole movies that are for sure going to make a bunch of money. So like your smaller movies that are going to be
like Star Wars movies and like MCU movies and shit like that. Those things that already have like a culture behind it. Because like being there like at like a midnight premiere or something like that, or like going the first day, that's already like a very niche thing where you see people like in costumes or like wearing shirts and shit like that. So I feel like that's already like a niche thing. So like if anything, you would just have it open just for I guess more so just for those people.
But isn't it disappointing?
Because like I usually, it wasn't until recently that I started like going to like movies the night of or the day of they're coming out. Usually I just fucking wait it out because I'm like I don't want to have to deal with all those people and like someone's crying fucking kid to do that.
See, and the other thing
is the whole time, and you don't want to get up and piss because then you'll have wasted the money that you spent. So you just hold it.
I love the
Well,
movie theater
I
experience.
pee
Same,
before
dude.
I go. So
I piss
don't know.
before I go every single time, and I always get an icy, so I always have to piss by the end of the movie. Without fail. I deal with it. I go in knowing it's gonna happen, so it's fine.
Okay,
That's
just
the
deal with
argument.
it. I was like, you're just dumb at that point.
Well,
No,
like,
because I
you
get an
accept it,
icy, and
you
I like
accept
if
it.
I'm gonna go to the theater, I want to get an icy, and so I do it to myself every single time. By the end of the movie, I'm like, I gotta piss every
It's an
time.
icy. It's
It's time to go. I gotta get
But now you
the
can't have
first
an
thing when I
icy
get out of
if
the
you're
movie.
at home. You have to get an icy or like a slushing machine.
That's part of the experience for me, though. Like that's why I justify it to myself. I know it's expensive, but I'm like, if I'm gonna do it, I should enjoy it. So that's
Yeah.
why I will spend the extra money for the icy, and maybe like a
Yeah.
snack in there too.
It's weird. I usually get like a hot dog whenever I go see.
Yeah,
a
like
movie.
I'll get like
I make it a point to
something.
get a hot dog.
Right,
I
because
am
like
so mad that
if I'm
movie
gonna do
theaters
it,
don't
I'm gonna
sell
do it.
coffee. I want movie
They
theaters to
do.
sell coffee so bad.
that
Oh
would
my gosh.
actually, yeah,
Ours
that'd be nice.
don't, but like, that's a whole beside the point. But like the argument that I'm really sad about is like, and I mean, obviously I love the Star Wars franchise. That's a big asterisk on that. But I love the MCU. But like, I don't want those to be the only movie theater experiences. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be able to go see small movies in theaters, but like, independent releases that are exclusively online, I think are going to be the norm.
Have we all seen Rise of Skywalker?
Oh,
Yep.
dude, I was gonna say that movie was goddamn dog shit.
Oh my
So
god.
Jesse, you have, right?
Mm-mm.
You haven't seen episode 9 yet?
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
I was like, I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure the only one who had-
Jesse and I talked about it in the days after it came out.
Dude,
I
that movie is so like I've only watched it once, so maybe I need to rewatch it. But from what I remember, I was like, "What in the goddamn fuck is happening?"
No, it was one nonsensical thing right after the other. It was just like they were throwing shit at the wall, and like
Yeah.
Dead.
every time something else happened, I was like, "You can't. This isn't real."
Here's the thing: like, if I had like a lower IQ and I was just like looking at it and didn't think about what happened in the scene before.
See, this is what you just said. This is what you said. You said
If I
I
was
could
stupid-
envision liking that movie if and only if. Now, hear with me. If I was completely like an idiot. If I was a complete idiot, I can see enjoying it a little bit. So that's what you just said.
And you know what? To anyone who's watching this and like The Rise of Skywalker, I think you're an idiot. So
Well, can we do this? Can we do this? I want to challenge everybody to say one positive thing, and you can't repeat one of the other positive things that was said.
The visuals were
You
fucking
son of a
bitch!
Here's
No.
specifically the Kylo versus Rey scene in the water and everything.
Oh,
that
no,
was so
wait,
sick, dude.
wait. Okay, I got mine. So I like that they tried to justify Leia's Force use in this movie by being like she was trained and shit.
Yeah,
I like that they attempted
tried to
that.
fix that.
They
It was
tried to fix it, which I like.
it was
I did-
unbelievable still, but it was like okay.
Yeah, because the thing is that like if that was kind of like drawn out throughout the movies, and
Well, then
obviously-
yeah, nobody would have
yeah,
freaked out in the
yeah,
Last
no,
Jedi when
yeah,
that shit
but
happened.
I appreciate the attempt. That's what I like.
I think
appreciate it.
I liked the inclusion of the Emperor. Like when it was sold to me at first that the Emperor was going to be in the movie, I was really upset. I was like, you got to let him go, all this kind of stuff. But like I think he is an interesting character to watch on screen. He's well acted. You know what I'm saying? Like I think he's relatively menacing. I don't love his detailed involvement, but I like on premise that he was in the movie.
Is it my turn?
Go for it.
I would do everything to Daisy Ridley.
So you like that she was in the movie?
I like that she was in the movie. Yes.
That's visuals. So you got to choose something else.
I like her accent. That's audio.
That's
Dude, she whipped out that yellow lightsaber at the end with zero context. Like that's just
I was
that's
like,
literally
yeah,
she
that is
said-
literally the cherry on top for that entire trilogy. They're like
Ray Skywalker.
yellow lightsaber.
She-
Here's
she
1,000
just-
questions you have. We're giving you zero answers. Go
Also,
fuck
no,
yourself. It's over.
Also, isn't this annoying? Like, and movies do this freaking all the time. Like, she's burying, like, it's very quickly communicated on screen. She's burying this in Tatooine so that it can be gone. Like, this is a part of
Which
history that is hidden.
symbolizes, at least within the context we have, she is displaying the only two lightsabers that we currently know of in the universe at that point in the story are being buried in Tatooine.
No,
and then
because
she
she's
just-
buried- No, that's not the cool. That's not the frustrating part. I'm fine with burying it. I get it. Like bury it on Tatooine because that's where it all.
Where'd you get the goddamn yellow lightsaber, bro?
No. Why bury it? Why bury it in your stupid secret spot and then give a wink to some stranger that's watching? That's the most annoying thing. Somebody
Come
saw her
find
do
it.
it.
It's
Because
very
if I was
near.
She kills them. That's what she does at the very end, bro. She starts a lightsaber and kills their ass. That's the very end of the movie. She's literally like.
Oh, that guy saw it.
No, because if I'm that old lady, you can smile and nod and go, as soon as she leaves, I'm picking those things that, like, you got to go dig them up.
That's why.
No,
she,
dude.
That's why she
It's some
killed her.
sweet old woman. She's like, "Is that you, Ray?" And then she's like, "No witnesses." And she just walks over, and then and then credits roll.
So I recently
just axes out a fucking old lady. You're like,
I recently rewatched
directed by J.J. Abrams. Yeah.
I recently rewatched Phantom Menace. I recently rewatched Phantom Menace, and every time I watch the prequels now, because they pop up like in my life every now and then. Every time I try to pick one character, and I try to pick what the actor is thinking every scene. Like I try to think of like the one time you do Jake Lloyd, and Jake Lloyd, of course, the whole time is going, "I am in Star Wars." That's the only thing he's thinking the whole time.
That's the only thing he's thought his whole life.
And
I know he's mad I said that if he ever hears it. He's
no, the last
so heated I said it.
Ever since he was in prison, he's like, I was in fucking Star Wars.
I have the real character I want to talk about was Liam Neeson, because Liam Neeson's a classically trained actor. Like Liam Neeson's like, you know, he had a reasonably, like, he was a reasonably good actor with a reasonably, you know, he was not just a big box office whatever.
I think
The
that's
whole
probably
time
reasonable
he's
to
in
say.
that movie, he's looking around going like, what is going on here? You know what I'm saying? Like he had to utter the midichlorian line and convince people they were real, and that's annoying to me.
They are real. And that's
Yeah,
how
they
Palpatine-
picked Liam Neeson to do that shit.
I mean, that's how I see Mace Windu, bro. I mean, like Mace Windu is embodied as a separate character, but that's still Samuel L. Jackson. What I'm seeing,
No,
and I'm
Of course,
like,
yeah.
I disagree with you. I think that's one of his only roles where I don't see Samuel L. Jackson.
really?
Interesting.
The
Really?
character.
I
of
do
Mace-
see Mace Windu. Don't get me wrong. I see Mace Windu, but like, I'm like, that's.
So here's the reason. So like
He was
you
like,
very
I will
quickly-
only be in Star Wars if my lightsaber can be purple.
What about the actor that plays Kit? What's his name? Kit Fisto?
Kit Fisto.
Who's that guy? Can we start paying attention to him?
I don't know, man.
The,
He
the,
must
the
be
reason
under a
I
shit ton
see
of
Mace
makeup.
Windu as like its own character, because like very quickly as you grow up around the prequels, you have to realize like they are what they are, and you have to see beauty in them in a different way. If I'm, you know, I think we can all acknowledge that a little bit.
You tell me I have to do that with Rise of Skywalker in like 20 years.
No.
No, I think you just distance yourself from that one.
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay. As long as we're on the same page.
Mace Windu to me is by far the most interesting character on the Jedi Council,
I
because
agree.
the argument underlying in the prequel movies is that he is a Jedi Master who's also the most politically corrupt because he wants power, the Jedi Council. And like that means that he is the closest thing to an evil Jedi.
Which would be sick if you think of red and blue mixed together as purple, which is like Sith lightsaber, but that's not why they did it, so I don't give him any credit.
Yeah,
'Cause
he-
it was
yeah.
literally because Mace
Yeah.
Windu's like, I want to be able to see
I want
myself in the
pur-
big fight.
He's like, I want to have a purple one, and they're like, well, we were gonna give you a blue one. He's like, nah, I want a fucking purple one. I was like,
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that then. I'm just
But
not gonna.
they,
Star
they
Wars.
gave it a lore. They
George
gave it a lore
Lucas is like,
explanation.
please, Samuel,
Are you serious? Yeah, no, I'm not gonna do it.
I'm not gonna do that.
But they did give it a lore explanation that was like exactly that. It was like he balances
that
like light
he
and dark.
mixed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah,
I mean,
I'm right.
That's,
I'm right.
Yeah.
that's clever. I think legitimately, you know, in Star Wars there are 3.5 good Star Wars movies, and that's how I feel about it.
What's the half?
I don't want to talk about the
Revenge of
first
the Sith.
six.
Revenge of the Sith. Half of Revenge of the Sith is good. If I'm being objective, I don't think the original trilogy is good. I don't even think it's great. I actually don't think Return of the Jedi is that good, in my opinion. I think A New Hope's good because it originally was a standalone film, and if you look at it like that, like it's a complete story and it's good. And then I think, you know, yeah, Empire's good, obviously.
He's looking around like he doesn't fucking know you anymore.
Look, man, Cole and
I don't. Return of the Jedi, I think's okay. I don't think it's bad. I just think it's okay. And then I think half of Revenge of the Sith is good.
Cole and I have argued about this like 6 ways, you know, and each time my conclusion is that it's impossible for a modern audience to analyze the first trilogy, the original trilogy, because like so much of cinema culture is defined by the Star Wars trilogy. Like the way movies are made and marketed and watched, and like it's we can't get outside of our own heads. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's impossible to judge Empire as like a sequel because in a lot of ways it was the first time that Hollywood did a big tentpole. There are ways to argue that, but like that's why like it's hard to argue it since it kind of is the first of its kind. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't have the MCU as we know it without Star Wars being a thing.
Is it impossible? Because I think we were able to sort of put that aside when like the three of us watched Psycho. Like I think we were able to recognize a lot of those things, like what originated from.
The difference I think there is Psycho is built on more subtle cinema techniques, I think. Like if you go back, like rewatch The Shining, for instance. Like, have we all seen The Shining?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, if you go rewatch The Shining, so much of modern thriller horror movies is built on little moments in that movie. You know what I'm saying? And like if you study and you watch a bunch of horror movies, you're not gonna enjoy The Shining the same because you will have already seen it. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with The Godfather.
We found that same effect, in Psycho as well. Though there's a lot of what are now thought to be cliche horror movie moments, but at the time this was innovation.
They were the first. Yeah, it's the same thing with like it's the same thing with like when we watched Godfather, like Godfather was almost unenjoyable for me because I had seen so many references in Family Guy and I mean in all these other shows that but even serious dramatic movies that reference that the emotion in Godfather, and like it's hard to recognize it as the first. Like that's viewing it through that lens, to me, I still just have this deep abiding love for Star Wars. And I'm
just saying, if I take a look at the story, the way I feel about it, like I say 3.5 good movies. I think Rogue One was dog shit. I've always said that. Solo was okay. Like it was cheap. You know, it was like this movie.
Nobody asked for that movie, but it was okay.
It was okay, but it was like, what am I watching? Like, who cares?
Blaze Piss.
Movie fucking sucked.
What was the other one? Was there not a third standalone Star Wars film?
Solo and Rogue One. They were originally going to make an Obi-Wan, and then they took it away.
And then made a show out of it.
And they're making a show out of it.
On the topic of Star Wars, has anyone seen the shit for Mandalorian?
Oh yeah, Mandalorian is what I'm thinking of. Mandalorian's sick. I like Mandalorian.
Yeah. No, here's what I'm worried about, because I think we like kind of talked about it over text, Clay.
Yeah.
Or like it was either you or I was talking to Kayla's roommate, but it's like Ahsoka is supposed to be in there, and like a bunch of like other people, and like to be honest, that makes me have like less faith in like what I'm looking at, because I like the idea that it was completely separate. It was something that wasn't going to touch anything else. Their whole point in the first, like in like what they were explaining to us for the first season was that like, oh, it's like all the way in the outer rim or like whatever, and it's like no one's over here, and like it kind of showed like a very different side, and like how the Empire was like still trying to manipulate things, but how like damaged it was. And even having the black saber, like, and being like, oh, well, they have to connect it now. It's like, no, you don't have to. There could be a whole lot of events that like make it to where that ends up being in someone else's possession, or like make that like, and like
Boba
even if you want
to be in it.
They cast Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka, and then they brought back I don't know the dude's name, but the same dude that played Boba Fett. Jango Fett, yeah.
Yeah, the guy's playing Jango Fett's playing Boba Fett.
My counter argument to you, Justin, is the success of the first season of Mandalorian. I think the first season was meant to be Star Wars content that did not have to touch the universe in any meaningful way. Meaning, if the first season of Mandalorian was terrible, your opinion of the newest trilogy of movies isn't affected, because there's no content that affects it, and because it was so successful, you can start. Like another way to think about that is like Mandalorian's canon, but it doesn't actually matter. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's kind of like how the MCU TV shows on Netflix
it'll all be canon now, but everything, the bigger picture's already been solved, so everything will end up tying back into what's already happened.
Mm-hmm. And that's where like it was so successful at being that like you can start to dabble in what is sort of on screen canon, but I do get being worried.
Yeah, I don't know. Make that something that's more down the line, but literally, like, and spoilers for anyone who hasn't fucking seen The Mandalorian, like, sorry, but like at the end of it, they're like, okay, well, now we're just gonna go, and like it's like they haven't gone anywhere yet to like meet those people. So why not have those kind of like solo, like more of those solo adventures where he really has no one, he has no allies.
I mean, that'll probably happen still in season 2. They'll force.
like,
I mean, just like with like Lord of the Rings, you think like two towers, the whole fellowship gets split, and like that they don't reunite until that's natural conflict is gonna make a story. They're gonna write that shit in. They're gonna put them in situations where they don't have the help that you think they should at all times. I mean,
yeah, it's just like how much
gonna
of
happen.
that it just makes me worry, like how much of the shit is like forced into there. It's like, no, this needs to happen.
Because
Because
we have to put Ahsoka in there to capitalize on the Clone Wars popularity, and so
Yeah.
It's like how much of it is like genuine, like, no, I wanted this character because it would make sense.
Right. Yeah.
You just don't want to go down the slippery slope of like, because especially with like a property like Star Wars, like if they start doing that shit, then like that opens the gates to you can do fucking anything.
But I will say, like with that, though, that's kind of a good thing because like if you think, this is an obscure reference, but like Jon Favreau did season 1 of The Mandalorian, like I really enjoyed it. If you guys know the movie Cowboys and Aliens, came out in like 2009 or something. Jon Favreau starred that, and it was starring Daniel Craig. It had like star-studded cast, huge budget. Jon Favreau just directed Iron Man. You know, he's he's a big deal at this point. You know, everybody knows Jon Favreau. And movie sucked, terrible. But here's Mandalorian. It's Cowboys and Aliens. Is it not? Like it's kind of a space western where so he gets Star Wars assets. He gets that control to tell his own story, but with the universe of Star Wars. And now it's this really awesome thing. All of a sudden,
it's good.
If Cowboys and Aliens was done with Star Wars assets, I bet that movie would have been way more enjoyable. But now I'm thrust in this weird, goofy sci-fi world I know nothing about. So much is already explained to you when you know you're in the Star Wars universe. Like so many of your questions are already answered. You can just get into the story.
If you have any questions, you can just Google it. Whereas like there's no like precursor.
Let me just pull up the Star Wars wiki real quick.
And the other thing too that I think is interesting on that exact same vein is like he directed Iron Man 1, and like we can all argue to the as long as the day is long about how much of a plan the MCU was on, or was it just like, okay, this movie was good, now we have to do this movie and this movie and this movie. Like I think the latter is more true, where like the success of Iron Man spawned Iron Man 2, spawned Thor, spawned Captain America.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Nick Fury was in Iron Man.
No, I'm not saying there wasn't a trajectory, but I'm saying
there was. There totally was a trajectory.
I'm not saying there was.
I think it was looser than. I don't think they were like, we're gonna make Iron Man, and
they
then
probably
as
sketched
soon as
out,
this hits, we're gonna do this and this and this.
But
they probably sketched out to the first Avengers film, to see how it went,
But also though, like, look at how bad the DC, extended universe on screen like went. How many plans did they have that required 1 or 2 movies to be big and popular, and it never happened, so they never continued it? It's like, my point is that if Iron Man wasn't as good and captivating to people as it was, and Iron Man 2 was, we can debate on how good Iron Man 2 was, I guess, but like if Favreau wouldn't have done that, then other directors and other filmmakers and other writers would not have been able to come in and do what they did in the MCU. And the goal, I think, with The Mandalorian is to capture some of that same energy, because even if they don't have like a specific plan that requires these characters, Boba Fett and Ahsoka, I still trust that the world that Favreau is able to create with Cole, like what Cole was saying, like with licensed characters, because we know there's a universe that it can be expanded. It just makes me trust it a little bit.
I think Iron Man 2 is a really good movie. I think it's not a good action film, I think like if that's what you're interested in, like it doesn't tickle that itch, but like if you're interested in the universe, like I think it's a really good movie. So.
Yeah. Except for the dude's weird obsession with the parrot. That never really goes anywhere.
My boy.
My bird.
Where's my boy?
Yeah.
Wants his bird. Yeah, I think we're probably gonna head towards wrapping it up. We're probably getting pretty close to time. So y'all have any final thoughts before we start wrapping it up here, fellas?
I'm moving to Colorado, so next time you see me in this podcast, I will be in a different spot than now. That's exciting.
Yeah.
So that's cool. There's a thought. I don't know. Just want to mention that.
Fucking moving. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm moving. So it'll probably be a little bit for the next podcast, and obviously there's a little bit of a delay for this one too, but it'll definitely be a little bit because I got to get settled into the new place and everything.
Yeah, it's probably going to be like another 2 weeks till the next podcast.
So bear with us, bros, but definitely stay tuned to all the socials and all that shit. Go follow all our stuff as well as at Wavelengths CX on Twitter, and you can go check us out on YouTube and all that stuff. And if you're watching on YouTube, and if you're watching on YouTube, links are in the description to anywhere where you can go listen to us. We're on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, all that shit. But Jesse, thank you so much for coming on. Love you, bro. So glad that you could be our first guest. And we're gonna have to have you on again down
No,
the
for
road,
sure.
You know.
And just to be genuine here, like Jesse is like my favorite person to have like intelligent conversation with because like literally
The rest of us
I
are
get-
fucking stupid.
yeah, like if I try to talk anything with Clay that isn't movies, then it's just
Yeah. If it's not about Batman, I just don't give a fuck. I'm sorry.
yeah, I just no. Are you talking about Batman? No, I don't care.
If it's
I'm
not
not-
if it's not about Batman or Dansby Swanson, I just
Clay, can
I
we
can't
talk
be
about
fucked.
your YouTube channel? No, I'm not gonna do that.
I'm not gonna
No,
do that.
sorry. Yeah, no, it's like
I wonder-
even after I got my good internet yesterday, Cole was like, "You gonna stream?" And I was like, "Nah, still not gonna
Nah,
stream." Sorry,
No,
But
I'm
you
just not
did.
streaming.
I did.
My only interesting Batman fact movie-wise is the very first time I saw the movie The Dark Knight, I hated it.
Whenever I first saw the movie The Dark Knight, I saw it in movie theaters, and my mom went to go pee for like 45 minutes. I thought she was either dead or I got left at the movie theater.
She was just like, you
Jesus.
know what?
This movie sucks.
And
Just looked at Justin. I'm not gonna do this.
I distinctly remember it because like we sat down and then she was like, I have to go to the restroom. And I was watching the bank scene and I was like,
Oh, she left before the movie started.
yeah, she
was
when
like,
when it started, she left. And I was like, she's gonna miss all the good
They
parts.
went to go get a drink.
And then it got to the part where they were in the interrogation. I was like, where the fuck is my mom? Like it wasn't
Wait,
until then, and
when
I walked
Batman
out
was
and she
interrogating
just-
Joker?
Huh?
When
Yeah.
in the
Yes.
precinct?
Yes.
She went to go watch a different movie, bro.
There was like an hour left in the movie.
No, straight up, I watched some of it, or I started watching that scene. I was like, wow, my mom's been gone for a minute.
Yeah.
So I walked outside. I didn't see her, and I just walked back in. I was like, all right, well,
I'm
I'm
gonna go
not
back to
gonna
watching
not-
some
I'm
I
Batman.
mean, this in his
so-
movie.
I'm gonna stop.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until the movie was over, I walked out, and I was like, still don't see her. Still don't see her. Gonna go pee. Still don't see her. And then I walked out to where you get like popcorn and shit. She was just sitting at a table, and I was like, what the fuck happened?
Can I tell a very brief story really quick that's related to that? It'll be
Yeah,
brief,
man.
I promise. So Cole and I were on a church trip, a mission trip when we were kids, to a different part of the country, and we had a free day in the middle of the week. And for the free day, our youth group decided to go see a movie, and we chose the movie Up, the Pixar movie Up. And I'll be coy on some of the details, but so Cole and I sitting there, we're like two little mischief makers, in the top row, and Cole, Cole gets a text from this pretty girl from another youth group who was also at the movie theater. She was like, "You should sneak out of that movie and come hang out with me, and we'll just walk around the mall." And we looked at each other, and then this was so the movie had just started. So then we watched the first 5 minutes of Up, and he was like, "Nah, this movie's good though." That's how good Up.
That's still my favorite Pixar movie. Dude, that's still my favorite Pixar movie. That movie's good as hell,
He
bro.
just
Fuck
texted-
that.
he
I made the right
so
decision, damn it. I stand by that decision. That movie was good as hell.
He just
And the
texted
movie
her
I'm
back.
happy I saw in theaters. It was Up for sure.
He,
Dude,
he
I
just
was-
texted her back, nah,
Now-
bitch.
I was
Now you're
14 at the time, bro.
engaged. Now you're
Yeah.
engaged, moving to Colorado. Imagine if you walked around with that chick. You wouldn't have seen Up.
Who the fuck is that bitch,
Yeah.
dude? Whatever, yeah. Nah, no, for real though. Dude, I remember watching that as a kid. I must have been we were 14 or 15 at the time. I don't know.
Yeah.
We were young, and that fucking opening scene in Up. It's got the whole romantic, no dialogue
Yeah.
romance story, and she, the Ellie passes at the end, and dude, I was like. I was a total kid. I had no context for that. Now it's fucking even harder to watch, and it only gets harder. But that movie's good as hell.
That opening scene is like the ultimate tearjerker.
Oh yeah.
The music's so good, bro. That movie is so
Dun,
good.
dun, dun, dun.
Shut up, bit man.
Dun, 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 dun.
But yeah, that's gonna do it for us today. Again, we wanted to have Jesse on first. We were very intentional about that. But yeah, that's gonna do it. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Wavelengths Podcast. Like I said, we'll be back in a couple weeks, most likely. And yeah, just to finish things off, I never got in trouble for that whole Texas thing. See y'all later.
Peace.